We have the opportunity to listen to our special guest. He is a recruiter at Manning and Napier in Rochester, New York. So a big round of applause to Ben Schreiber.
Hi guys, like Ben said, I run the recruiting department at Manning and Napier. So I recruit for everything from our internships, so I do all of our college connections and this sort of stuff, all the way entry level roles, all the way up to our senior executive level roles as well. So only been doing it for 1.5 years, but really been around the block in terms of positions, and I have the process pretty well locked down. So I'll give you kind of background about the company, a little bit more about kind of what our research team does. Equity research is kind of the name of the game for us, so a little bit more detail about that, and then certainly happy to answer any questions that you guys have and kind of talk about the recruiting process and different positions that may be of interest to you all. So a little bit about the firm. We were founded in 1970, so we're almost 50 years old. In terms of a pretty good track record in investing, I know it says 40 years here. I'm kind of not undecided on whether when I start rounding up to 50 instead. Right now we have 23.1 billion assets under management. That is as of August 31st. So I don't have the new earnings call on here from September, but 23.1 is where we're at. About 250 people overall, either in the investment research side of the business or in the client services side of the business. So all of those people work very closely with our clients and with our investment strategies and different equities and investments. So as far as the firm overall, we were privately owned until the end of 2011, started 2012. In that time, we ranked #1 in Rochester as far as privately held companies. And since we went public, we are now majority employee owned still. And then as far as kind of the coverage that we offer, it's really kind of a broad service. We have clients regionally, clients nationally, and this type of stuff we invest in is both US based and international. But I'll get a little bit more into that when I get to the research side of things. More about kind of the clientele. Right now, the majority of our people are high net worth individuals. We also have institutional clients and then 401ks, pension plans, endowments, but high net worth individuals and institutional clients kind of make up the majority of it as far as our client base goes. We do all their investing directly, so the client invests their money right into one of the mutual funds that we create, and then it's just us and the client working together. There's no third-party service or anything like that. So we often work with financial advisors as well who have client money and then they invest through us. So that's kind of the only way intermediary ever comes into play. In terms of things you can look for as an employee at Manning & Napier, I think the most important thing is the first thing on there. So meritocracy based. So we're all about the people who do the best job or the people who get promoted, the people who move into positions of management level and beyond that. There is no seniority. There's no programs where you go 2 years and then you move up and then 2 more years and you move up. It doesn't work like that. It's just if you're doing the best and that's what your manager sees, then you're the person who gets the job. So I think it's very clear when you're getting performance reviews every year. It's very clear kind of how that works, but it's just full meritocracy based. So if that's something that you're looking for, then Manning & Napier is certainly a good place to do that. The other thing I would say that's not on here is our focus on the client. So there's something in the SEC that's called the Manning rule. One of our founders, Bill Manning, was kind of instrumental in getting it passed. So it's about having the client's best interest first, and then the firm, and then your own. But you can look it up. It's kind of a landmark SEC ruling. So that's one of our founders played a pretty big part in that. So that's kind of our claim to fame, if you will. And then as far as the other things on here are all kind of general things you'd see about, that companies want you to know. Right now, to be fully transparent with you guys, I've been doing this a little bit more, but right now, so the firm was at 50 billion in assets in 2011, 2012. Right now, we're obviously at 23.1. So I get the question, what happened? So obviously active management, which is what we are, active managers, is out of favor now with the market doing so well. So passive management come into favor. So we've lost some of our clients. So we've kind of stabilized. But as far as like growing right now, that's not exactly true, but we're kind of just stabilizing and hoping to kind of turn that back around here in the near future. As far as the research department goes, this is our bread and butter. So equity research is what we do. We have a team of analysts and associates and assistants who do deep stock research to determine what stocks we buy and help to build mutual funds and kind of help weight the portfolio out. So most of our senior level analysts kind of serve as not only analysts, but portfolio managers. And then anything below that is assistants, associates work on stocks and analysts help them work on creating research reports, doing the modeling, determining if it's something we invest in or not. We have a big focus on various industries. So we have actually 6 bottom-up sector groups. 5 of them are contribute right to our core portfolios, and then the real estate group has their own product. And then we have 3 top-down or macroeconomic groups, so global strategies, fixed income, and quantitative strategies. The majority of our research process is fundamental qualitative research. There's not a lot of technical analysis, not a lot of chart reading. We have one group that does it, but it's not popular at our firm, so we're more traditional in that nature. It's just kind of exactly what I just kind of explained as far as bottom-up, top-down goes. As far as the investment process and how a stock gets put into the portfolio, it's kind of a fairly intricate process. It starts with just looking at the investment universe, evaluating different companies, figuring out what industry you want to look at, figuring out what companies we should look at based on their financials. It has to fit one of the 3 strategies that's up there. So either profile, which is a growth strategy, hurdle rate, which is a cyclical strategy, or bankable deal, which is more of a value-based strategy. And then it fits one of the strategies. If it's a price target, it gets voted on by PMs. If the PM vote majority yes, buy the stock that's the price target. If they vote no, it's one of 2 things happen. They either go to the fire drill list. Fire drill list is if it fits on strategy but doesn't fit on price, we put it on the fire drill list. And the fire drill list is interesting because it's something that we keep kind of in our back pocket. If there's ever a major market shift, it's a list of companies that are already approved on strategy that we can buy if something changes in the market. It's a big shift. If it doesn't fit on strategy, it's rejected and we won't buy it. So it doesn't go on any list. We just kind of leave it, revisit if the strategy ever changes. So kind of skip through the strategy stuff. It just kind of does a little bit deeper of an explanation of what each strategy is. So growth strategy, I was looking for the companies that kind of fall into here, the big tech companies, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, you name it. It's a big tech company. It's likely a profile. Other industries have them, but those are kind of the big ticket companies. Hurdle rate is more airline, oil, metals, and mining companies that go through more cycles. Try to invest when they're low, pick a couple best companies, and then when we see the cycle start to shift, usually those are the companies that do well. This one's a little bit trickier to invest in. It's one of the more difficult strategies to use, and it's not used by many groups. And bankable deal is our least used strategy. It's really a deep value approach. So you look for industries that are not doing well and try to pick the ones that are going to come out of it in the best shape. So, for example, one of the bankable deal strategy choices that I recall was Dick's Sporting Goods. Sporting goods industry wasn't doing well, retail wasn't doing well, and Dick's was kind of the choice to make it through. I don't exactly remember. I don't know what's in the portfolio now. I'm not investment personnel, but it was back when I was one of the investment people. In terms of, I'll leave it open to questions, and I'll walk you through a little bit about the recruiting process too. So we have 7 internships every summer. 4 are in equity research, 2 are in investment operations, and then 1 is in accounting finance. The accounting finance, you get to see tax, audit, corporate finance, and fund reporting. And the investment operations are more back-end finance processes, reconciling trade processing. And then equity research is doing exactly kind of what I just walked through with picking stocks and doing stock evaluation. The hiring process is open right now. We'll probably be hiring until December. I would say all the internships should be closed by around then. And it's a couple-step interview process. So phone interview with me, and come into the firm or do it over Skype, depending on kind of the logistics of it, meet with the team, and then from there you get an offer. It's pretty straightforward. But more than happy to answer any questions you guys have about the firm. I know that's a pretty quick overview. If there are any specific questions, yeah.
You guys have any jobs versus internships, or do you usually take seniors in your internship program?
No, we take juniors in the internship program. Full-time roles. The timing is a little bit trickier. We don't have any programs, so there's not we don't hire for X amount of people every May. It's more of just kind of keeping track on our website, keeping in touch with me to determine what's open then. We'll probably be looking for 1 research assistant and at least 1 investment ops person in May of 19. It's just a little bit hard to tell this early as far as what's going to be. But we do hire right out of school. I would say usually we bring on 2 to 3 people in between May and July, just varying of the position. But finance is usually a pretty good degree to have to work anywhere within the firm. So it's pretty versatile.
Thank you. How many students do you usually interview for your internship program?
For the growth team, investment ops internship, not more than, it's as far as like phone screen, maybe like 15 or 20. That was usually easier to fill in terms of it's more of a generalized background. So it's pretty easy. As far as like research goes, we usually get maybe 800, 900 resumes, 104 people. So I'd say last year we brought into the firm to interview maybe 15, 20 people. So I mean, all of those 15, 20 people are top quality candidates, and then from there it's just up to the team to make those decisions. So that one is highly competitive, and then they're all really competitive, but that one the process is a little bit more drawn out for. Yeah.
What would you consider a top quality candidate?
There's a few things. So in research, a top quality candidate is typically part of like investment club or a student managed fund, which are becoming obviously much more popular in schools everywhere now. Some investment background, whether it's a personal portfolio or paper money portfolio, whatever that may be. Having read books about the stock market is really good. Having an internship under your belt. I know it's tough to get those internships as a sophomore, but if you have one, it's a big bonus. Other leadership positions on campus are important, and then other than that, a high GPA and an applicable degree area are what we look for there. In terms of elsewhere, like on the investment ops side of things, you don't have to have as much investment experience because that internship is made for you to be able to learn more about it. But I think for that internship, it's more about having at least 3 years towards your degree. Finance, business, economics majors are the most likely fit, but you can really do anything. You don't just pick by major. And then from there, it would be high GPA, like a well-rounded, so being in clubs and organizations and kind of doing other things on campus other than just going to class and getting your degree. And from there, it's really just about how well you're able to communicate, how well you interview. So.
These internships are in Rochester?
That's correct. Yeah, so we have about 350 employees. That's like 310 or 15 of them are at Rochester, and the rest are split between our Florida office, our Seattle office, and our Columbus office. But those are all very small satellites, so you don't really get out there until you've been in the firm for at least a handful of years, and then it's still an F.
Would you say that these internships are like direct gateways to full-time offers?
We try to make them that way. For example, like our last class of research interns, we have one coming back on our return offer. One was a sophomore. We gave her a return offer for another internship, which she's going to explore in a large city. So she's not coming back. And the other two were from very far locations. Like this is a couple hours away from us. We have one from LA and one from North Carolina. So they're both going back to their respective homes to pursue their house. So we are bringing one back. Research. And then the investment ops team, we don't know ahead of time what's going to be open for them, but if they open something in May, those candidates who did internships are likely, quality-wise, they're ready to go. So we'll offer them opportunities if they're there, but it's all about time.
What's your full-time employee turnover like?
It's not a percentage I have on the top of my head, but what I can tell you, so I've been doing this for about a year and a half. I've probably hired 45 or 50 people maybe, and only one of them is not with the firm anymore. Most of our senior level managers have been with the firm 10 and 15 years plus. It really depends on what department you look at. We just had, as part of we're doing a little bit of restructure. As part of that restructure, our CEO stepped down. We're going to be putting in a new CEO. We offered an early retirement program, so some of our senior level people have recently left and retired, so spots are getting filled by people who are maybe a little bit less experience-wise. But the turnover is, I would say it's typical of the finance world. Crazy.
So as far as like pay, benefits go for interns or people that get into full-time, what would you say that's like?
As far as interns go, the benefits aren't much intern-wise, but it is paid. It's like a mid-teen hourly level for the interns. And then as far as like the full-time goes, it's pretty comprehensive benefits, health, dental, vision. You get 10 vacation days a year, 7 sick days. In your third year, you get 15 vacation days instead of 10. carry over 20 vacation days per year. Managers are really liberal about like if you really for half an hour to do something, you have to take time. Just pop out, make up the half hour that week. So it's pretty relaxed in that sense, as long as you're putting in the hours and the work's getting done. Like there's not any questions about 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. So it's pretty free flowing in that regard. I think the benefits from my viewpoint are fair and are solid. There's still 24, so like the healthcare thing, my parents don't have to get that yet, so I haven't had to deal with it yet. People I know it's healthcare is like an HSA plan, so it's like a high deductible spending account versus like $20.
Mentioned these were kind of research internships. Is there any interaction with any clients?
No, research has no interaction with clients. The reason for that is the analysts, they used to do a little bit of interaction with clients on the research side, but some of the analysts started getting kind of bogged with calls from clients wanting them to look at certain securities. So obviously they had to kind of cut that out because it's not good for the business, and B, the analysts know what securities they want to look at, so they're the professionals doing it. So client services has kind of been that middle ground. They kind of do all the client interaction. Every once in a long while, a client will get to talk to a research analyst because they'll be curious about a certain stock if something crazy is happening with it. But the company's pretty good about client communication and sending out memos on stocks that there's like a 10% shift in a day. We'll send out a memo and say this is what happened. Or if there's every time we buy a stock, we'll say why. Every time we sell a stock, we'll say why. So there's always good solid communication with clients as far as what's happening.
There are a lot of like model construction for the equity research side.
Yep, it's all Excel modeling. Not as much like construction from the ground up. There's most of the sector groups have kind of like their baseline model built already, and it's more like a plug and play sort of thing. But obviously, like there's stuff that goes into figuring out what you have to plug there. So there still is. I think that if you come in with some modeling experience, either the internship or full time staff would have, just make it that much easier for you.
So what type of Excel things do you think are most important to know?
Experience with DCF modeling is probably number one. Other than that, I think just the more proficient you are in Excel, really just knowing how to do things is important, but DCF modeling is number one for sure. That's the most common form of modeling. We do like some LBO type modeling, but for DCF is that important.
Does everybody know what those are?
Leverage buyout,
Discount
cash flows.
Yeah. Making sure. We'll do plenty of that for you.
Yep.
Is there like some sort of mentorship or learning along the way where you learn from an upper level associate?
There is in both the internship and full time. For the internship, you go through what's called Manning Napier University. So you learn about the strategies. You'll talk to various upper level analysts that kind of tell you how they got to where they are, kind of some suggestions on how to get there. And then when you're full time, you'll be assigned if you're in research or elsewhere, you'll be assigned a mentor who's typically somebody who's senior within the company who you can bounce ideas off of. If you're in research, you have to do a big project, you can kind of run it through them first and give you some feedback. So research has a very formal mentor program. When you start at the assistant level, you get an analyst who's mentored the whole way to try to make it work out for you the best it can. If you're in like operations or something like that, you'll get a mentor who's somebody senior at the firm. It may not be directly applicable to what you're doing, but they'll still serve as kind of a springboard for you to bounce ideas off or ask about when you can start to apply for their jobs or that sort of thing. So.
Questions?
All right, I will leave some business cards for you guys. If anybody's interested in pursuing internships full time, anything like that, or just wants to follow up with other questions, feel free to call me.
Thank you.